by in a little bit with some hats and collect those questions. So like I said, my name is Johnny Holtz. I'm the president of the local chapter of the Northwest chapter of the Association of Energy Services Professionals. We are, AESP is a national organization. Our mission is to improve the delivery and implementation of energy efficiency, energy management, and distributed energy, renewable energy resources. Our local chapter, really what we do is we work to build and foster a robust energy efficiency community here in the Northwest, especially here in Portland. And we have a wonderful community. We have tons of companies that work in this sector. We sort of work to fulfill our mission by offering educational opportunities and networking opportunities. We have a monthly happy hour that we host every month, hence monthly. And we bring in great speakers from the community, distinguished people in our community to talk about different subjects. We encourage you to check out our events on our website, aespnw.org. So again, that's aespnw.org. Please check us out. You can join our mailing list. That's how we typically communicate with all of our members. So this is our third political forum on energy and sustainability. We started this in 2008. And the reason we started this was, obviously for our community, energy and sustainability, those are really important issues, and we decided that, we know that this is important to our community at large, that energy and sustainability issues, not only do a lot of us make our living from this, but it's sort of is part of our place. It's part of Portland, it's part of Oregon, and we think that it's important enough that it deserves its own forum, its own discussion. We should know what our candidates think about these issues. So we started this in 2008. We really loved it, the audience loved it, so we've had another forum in 2010, and this is our third one. So I really want to thank you all for coming out here. We're delighted to see you. This is an awesome turnout. We're glad you're participating and that you're interested in this, and this is a really cool opportunity to hear what our candidates think. So I want to say a couple thank yous. First of all, I want to thank our sponsors. If we could bring up the slide with our sponsors, that would be great as I talk about them. So as that's coming up, we are a sponsor. No. Actually, and I want to say that in the past we've hosted these ourselves. This year we partnered with Solar Oregon, and we were co-hosting this event, and they've been a wonderful partner. They're going to say a couple of words shortly. So our title sponsor, otherwise known as the terawatt sponsor, we named our sponsors after different amounts of power, is Evergreen Economics. So if we could give a huge round of applause. Does anyone know what a terawatt is? Anyone have a guesstimate of how big that number is? It's, thank you, yeah, 1,000, it's 10 to the 12th watt. That's a huge number, which I quickly was doing this in my head a second ago. That can power 1 billion homes. That's how much we care about our title sponsor. So thank you very much. Next, I want to thank our gigawatt sponsors, also a tremendous amount of power. We have a number of great sponsors, include Evergreen, so I'd like to thank Conservation Services Group, Umpqua Bank, PGE, Cadmus Group, Navigant, and Research into Action. If we give all of them a huge round of applause. Excellent. And next, I want to thank the megawatt sponsors, also a huge amount of power. That is 10 to 6 watts. And we have 2 megawatt sponsors. Those include PECI and PacWest. So let's give those two a big round. So yeah, these sponsors make this event possible along with lots of our other events. I also want to give a big shout out to a lot of volunteers who actually put this event together. That includes Philip Kelsman, Alex Reed, Carter Stafford, Judy Froman, Michael Hornstein. They all have been super helpful in working not just with this event, organizing this event, but lots of our other events that AESP Northwest puts on. I'm sure you're going to hear more about Solar Oregon, but they were tremendous in this event too. I definitely want to thank Imogen Taylor, Robert Cross, and the executive director, Claire Carlson. And of course, I want to thank the Bagdad Theater. They're awesome. They provided this space for free to us. That's a huge donation, so let's give them a big round of applause. And then lastly, I want to thank our candidates, because we're going to thank them again, but I really want to give them a big shout out up front, because without them, there wouldn't be an event, obviously. And they make themselves available to us. I think that's fantastic that they're willing to come out and talk to us and have this face-to-face discussion about issues that we care about. So let's give the 4 candidates a big round of applause. So now I'd like to call up to stage Claire Carlson, Executive Director of Solar Oregon.
Hello everyone. Thank you so much. I got to see most of you as you came in the door today. I would like to again thank our staff, Imogen Taylor, especially for the work that she did to help us on this event. I thought I would just say something really briefly about Solar Oregon. In case you're not familiar with our organization, we're the Oregon chapter of the American Solar Energy Society, and we are focused on education, outreach, and advocacy for renewable energy, distributed solar generation here in Oregon for all ages. So we're doing K through 12. I can actually announce we're selected by the Nike employees for their employee grant last week, and are getting $20,000 towards our K-12 renewable energy education program. Success there. I just wanted to talk a little bit. I've spent a lot of time traveling around the country actually talking about a program that started right here in Southeast Portland that many of you have heard of, and it's been talked about a lot, but it's the Solarize program. These are the community bulk purchase programs. And I tell them about this community and about how those programs started with just interested neighbors who got together and decided that they really wanted to get more solar installed in their neighborhood. Just to put it in context a little bit, before the Solarize programs in 2009, I think 2008, there was only 30 solar electric installations, PV, I was 38, I was corrected by our board president here. Sat in the front row to heckle me too, I knew it. Yeah, so 38 installations, the entire Portland, city of Portland. So far, since 2009, in the city of Portland, we have installed over 2 megawatts of solar through the Solarize programs. That started right from the We're making 2.2 megawatt hours of power per year now. Into our local grid, and that's something to be really proud of. I've fielded calls as far as South Africa on how to do these programs, and it's really taken off, and it's something for our community to be really proud of. So without further ado, though, I'm gonna hand it over just to say, Solar Oregon is a membership-based organization, and we are proud to have many members here in the crowd. I would like to point out a couple in particular, Andy and Kathy Kerr. Where are you guys at? There they are, back in the room there. Andy and Kathy Kerr have been solar ambassadors for Solar Oregon for a number of years. They actually put solar on their home for the first time before there was incentives to help them pay for it. So we have pioneers in the community that we really would like to acknowledge. You can check out their solar ambassador profile page on our website where they talk about their system, and just really appreciate it. How many of you other folks here have gone solar, maybe with a Solarize program or on your own? That's quite a few. You wouldn't have seen that just a few years ago. So we're really looking to our city officials and to be leaders for solar energy here in Oregon. About 74% of the folks who registered for those Solarize programs here in Oregon weren't able to go in Portland, because for various reasons, but they need another way to go solar, and I think the City of Portland is taking a real leadership role with the future of the community solar purchasing programs, and we'd like to see that continue. The City of Pendleton did a no-interest loan program for their residents. The City of Hillsborough has stepped up with 0 permitting fees, and I think they're really following the leadership that Portland has set by coming forward and helping their community to find creative ways to go solar, like the Solarize program. So we'd like to see that leadership continue. Thank you very much.
much. So next I want to call up to stage Steve Grover, who is the president of Evergreen Economics.
Thank you. It's my understanding, being a terawatt sponsor, I got to do a slideshow. PowerPoint, I had emailed you one, about 90 slides, charts and graphs. My musings about the economy. No? Can we talk about this later? Thank you. As John said, my name is Steve Grover. I'm president of Evergreen Economics. We're an economics consulting firm located here in Portland. We've been in business for a year and a half, and we specialize in energy efficiency program evaluation and looking at the job impacts associated with efficiency programs and renewable energy policy. So obviously, the issues here tonight are near and dear to our heart, and we thought I'd offer a little bit of perspective from an economist standpoint. You know, I think we can all agree it's an exciting time to be in the energy industry, in particular in Oregon, in Portland. We have a long, strong tradition of having progressive energy policies in the state. Right now, the public purpose charge is wrapping up its 10th year, and agencies like Energy Trust of Oregon and Northwest Energy Efficiency Alliance are thriving. Looking a little more forward, the Power Council in its latest power plan is calling for achieving 240 average megawatts of conservation annually, which is enough to meet 85% of the expected new load growth in the region. As you know, the Governor Kitzhaber recently came out with his 10-year energy plan, and those goals are even more ambitious. He's calling for meeting all of the new load growth in Oregon through efficiency and conservation. Because of these forward-looking policies and this long tradition, Oregon is recognized nationally as a leader in sustainable energy policy and energy efficiency. So much so that ACEE in its annual rankings of the state recently ranked Oregon 4th out of all the states in terms of energy efficiency. So there's a lot to be proud of here. We have a solid foundation, but as you know, there's a lot of concerns out there, a lot of shifting waters. The business energy tax credit is expiring. On the federal level, the production tax credit is set to expire. It's facing the continuing renewal battle in Congress. And of course, there's the economy. And everyone is concerned about jobs, and there's a lot of, or there's some folks that feel that we can't afford efficiency, we can't afford renewable energy, that these things cost jobs, even though that studies consistently have shown that these programs, if they're designed properly, can be net job creators. So we've got a proud tradition, but there's some challenges ahead. As the saying goes, fools rush in where angels fear to tread, and this is the landscape that our candidates are choosing to rush into tonight. So I think we're looking forward to some spirited discussion tonight, and thank you all for coming, and enjoy the evening. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Steve, and sorry about the slideshow. I'll be here later. So now, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to introduce our host for the evening show. He is a professional stage, film, and television actor and a theater educator who works with a number of nonprofit organizations. For nearly 10 years, he has performed as a comedy magician, a stage hypnotist, that's right, and an MC at over 1,000 events. In his spare time, he enjoys mountain climbing, jury duty, and catfish noodling. So he recently placed 3rd in the Multnomah County Featherweight Sumo Wrestling Championship. He's an avid recycler. And please welcome to the stage, Chris David Harder.
This is not Jeopardy! Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 3rd annual, biannual, political forum on energy and sustainability. My name is Chris, thanks very much for having me. Thank you, Johnny. It's an honor to be here in the Bagdad Theater. I want to just say, I want you all to think about me as sort of an Alex Trebek without the mustache. And I wear a thong. The future of sustainable underwear, right? You guys are excited about sustainability, energy, yeah? Yeah? All right. Awesome. Excellent. Our candidates are going to be coming up here shortly. Let's give a big round of applause to Solar Oregon and AESP for hosting the event. How many of you are attending this forum for the first time? Raise your hand. Yeah, awesome. That's great. Second time? Second time. Okay. There's a few I can't see up there. 3 times? Hardcore? Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's the hardcore group. Got nothing better to do than attend a political forum. It's all right. That's okay. I'm impressed. I'm sure our candidates are going to be impressed too. Are you guys ready for a show? Let's introduce our candidates. Let's introduce our candidates. Introducing first, Representative Jefferson Smith. Jefferson Smith was born in Portland, Oregon after attending Grant High School and the University of Oregon. Jefferson graduated from Harvard Law School. He became a nonprofit entrepreneur and gathered friends together to start the Oregon Bus Project. Hello, Jefferson. Right first. Is that comfortable for you?
That's great.
Yeah, good. We got a mic for you there too. We'll start that up. I'm going to finish your bio here, all right? This guy's running for mayor, folks. Check. Yes. Jefferson graduated from Harvard Law School. He became a nonprofit entrepreneur and gathered friends together to start the Oregon Bus Project, a national model of hands-on democracy for the next generation. Over the last 10 years, the Bus Project has developed hundreds of future leaders, registered tens of thousands of new voters, launched national activities in multiple cities across the U.S., won numerous local and national awards, and inspired democracy efforts from Oregon to Colorado and Africa. In 2008, he was elected to represent East Portland in the Oregon House and re-elected in 2010. No, Doug, no. I said to play the, Doug's our sound guy. I said to play the Oscar music, too long music when the candidates were going on too long, not when I'm speaking. It's a long bio here. Jefferson, he successfully worked on the landmark water investment program and the Cool Schools retrofitting and jobs program, and the Grow Oregon economic gardening plan for homegrown Oregon businesses. His good government work led to Oregon's Online Voter Registration Act, as well as the Transparency Act to put Oregon's budget online. He advanced one of the state's first efforts to curb human trafficking. He serves on budget, consumer protection, business, and transportation committees. Representative Smith lives in East Portland with his wife, Katie.
Hi, Katie.
Give a round of applause. Representative Smith. Thanks for being here. All right. Let's introduce our next candidate. Charlie Hales served on the City Council from 1993 to 2002. There's a chair for you right there. Very gentlemanly of you to shake hands. We're going to keep this clean, folks. We're going to keep it clean tonight. Charlie served on the City Council from 1993 to 2002, where he served as Parks Commissioner and head of the Transportation and Fire Bureaus during his tenure. Charlie later joined HDR Engineering and led teams of planners and engineers creating new light rail and streetcar lines across the country. Charlie has experience in both the public and private sector and has shown that he can really buckle down and get things done. Charlie is running for mayor because Portland deserves someone we can count on to strengthen our schools and neighborhoods and make this a safe, green, and prosperous city for everyone. Give another round of applause to Charlie Hales. Thanks for coming. All right. Representative Mary Nolan is serving her 6th term in the Oregon House of Representatives. She currently co-chairs the Ways and Means Subcommittee on Public Safety, as well as serves on the Joint Committee on Ways and Means. She is also a member of the House Judiciary Committee. During her tenure, Nolan spearheaded the largest increase in education funding in recent history, achieved a dramatic increase in funding for women's health care and family planning services, and led the successful effort to expand health coverage to over 100,000 Oregonians. Nolan is a small business owner and has served as chair of the NASA Industry Advisory Council, as a consumer advocate for the Oregon Construction Contractors Board, as the Portland Environmental Services Director, and as the chair of the Portland Private Industry Council. Nolan was in the first class of women Just reading Mary's bio here, Charlie. All right. Shall we finish? Let's see. Oh yes, Nolan was in the first class of women admitted to Dartmouth College, graduating magna cum laude in math. Her volunteer work includes leadership roles at Narell, Pro-Choice Oregon, Planned Parenthood, Columbia, Willamette, the New Rose Theater, the League of Women Voters, and several local schools. She is married to Mark Gardner. Their daughter, Liz, is... Mark's not a daughter. Sorry, Mark. Their daughter, Liz, is a high school sophomore. Give it a round of applause to Mary Nolan. Thank you, Mary. And last but not least, Commissioner Amanda Fritz. Boy, I should have picked those up myself. All right, Amanda Fritz is the only candidate running for the Portland City Council who is currently on the council. Elected in 2008 using public campaign financing, also known as voter-owned elections, Amanda founded the Office of Healthy Working Rivers to promote both environmental restoration and good jobs on the Willamette and Columbia Rivers. She is a graduate of Cambridge University, England, with a degree in biological sciences. She is also the proud mother of 3 graduates of Portland's wonderful public schools. Her firstborn son ran the Portland Marathon this past Sunday in 3 hours, 59 minutes, 22 seconds, giving him a Paul Ryan adjusted marathon time of under 3 hours. Isn't that right, Amanda? Thanks very much. Give her a round of applause, Amanda. All right. Fantastic. So we have our candidates here. You guys ready for the rules of the game? Ladies, gentlemen. All right. Welcome, candidates, to the rules of the game. There are 6 categories on the board. They're up there behind you, which you're not going to be able to see unless you have a mirror or something. But they are energy policy, energy efficiency, renewable energy, transportation, green jobs, and sustainability potpourri. So the rules of the game, there are no buzzers in this game tonight, so each candidate will have a turn to select a question from the category of their choosing. Some questions on the board will be asked of all of the candidates, and I'll let you know which ones they are when those questions are selected. Points will be given from the board, and I will also be giving points from the bonus questions that I secretly have prepared myself, as well as points for spirit and style. Right. Each of you will have 90 seconds to answer the questions, and your opposing candidate will also have 30 seconds to respond if they so choose. Sound good? Excellent. Great. So, without further ado, let's begin the competition. We haven't decided who's going to start first, so I'm trying to think the best way to select who starts first. Maybe we'll do a little rock, paper, scissors off. Why don't the two opposing candidates, you guys can each rock, paper, scissors. That'll be on 3. All right. Okay, well, there you go. I guess Jefferson beat him. Okay, Jefferson. Okay, now let's see. Ladies, would you like to rock, paper, scissors for, to see? Yeah, on 3. Okay, Amanda. Now, Amanda and Jefferson, you've got to rock, paper, scissors off here. Ready? Okay, here we go. It's a fair candidate. Was it a draw? 2 out of 3? 2 out of 3. Here we go. What an honest guy. That's the kind of guy that you... What an honest guy. All right. Amanda and Charlie, you're going to do a little rock, paper, scissors here. Let's see who's going to go first. Ready? On 3. 1, 2, 3. And, Charlie, all right, Charlie, he's going to go first. Give him a round of applause, Charlie. What do we have? Amanda, didn't you have a... Good, I love these candidates. I love these candidates are standing up for themselves. Because don't let me show you around, but even though I'm in charge. Here's how it's going to go, Amanda.
I'd like transportation for 100, please, Alex.
Very much, I appreciate that. Transportation for 100. Excellent. All right, we're dialed in with Stuart up there in the booth. Thank you very much, Stuart. Transportation for 100. All right, Amanda. If you had to choose only one transportation project to support, would it be expanding the streetcar or expansion of bus routes? Explain your decision.
It would be expanding bus routes because the streetcar is really a development tool rather than specifically transportation related. It's been great during the recession to have the streetcar in process and to get the east side their fair share of streetcar development and expansion. However, we've had a severe loss in bus routes and in bus service, and that's what the majority of people use to get from A to B.
Great answer. And I'm going to give you an extra 50 bonus points for keeping it under time. Fantastic. Ladies and gentlemen, that question was brought to you by one of our fake sponsors. Brought to you by Meal in a Pill for that super fast food meal without the messy packaging. All right, let's move on. Let's just go right down the line, Mary. Yes, you're up next. Which question would you like, Mary?
Let's go with energy policy for 500.
Energy policy for 500. Going for the big points. All right. Energy policy for 500. Should energy issues be a political and societal priority? If so, why?
Absolutely. Politics is all about how people get along, how people organize ourselves to better our community, better our families, better our own prosperity. And there is nothing more important in that debate and that prospect than energy policy. And I think we need to really make sure that this is something that not just the several hundred people in this room engage in for an evening, but becomes a dialogue in all the decisions we make for our city, our school districts, our state, everything that affects the neighborhoods we live in, the education our kids get, the jobs we're able to do and our children will be able to do, and that fundamentally makes it a political and societal question.
Very good. Thank you very much. You know, I'm going to let Amanda have a chance to respond as well. I realized that I skipped that part in the first question. Forgive me, please. But I do have a bonus question for you first, Mary, all right? The bonus question is, should these issues be brought up with your in-laws at Thanksgiving?
taking them up with my in-laws would be an interesting conversation because we'd have to have a seance.
Okay. That, for uniqueness, I'm going to give you an extra 100 points. Even though I was looking for a definitely not answer. Amanda, do you have a rebuttal?
I agree that energy policy is certainly very, very important. It's something that the City Council has a role in, and I've been proud to play my part in that for the past 4 years. It's also something that the community as a whole has embraced and taken a leadership role on, so it's now becoming throughout the entire fabric of our community, and I really appreciate the work of everybody in this room.
Thank you. Very nice. Very good. 2 extra points. No, no, that was a great answer. Charlie, you're up next. We'll move on.
Well, I think because only in Portland could we even have a category called sustainability potpourri.
Absolutely.
That I'm going to have to take that one for 300.
All right, sustainability potpourri for 300. Okay, Charlie, what is your vision for the future of recycling and composting in Portland? In other words, 200 years after you're dead, what would be really cool to see Portland has done about recycling and composting?
Wow. Well, when I think about recycling, I think about that Portlandia episode where they really made fun of us in a wonderful way because there were all those little bins in a row, remember? There was one for fingernails, one for dental floss. They got us there. But my vision is actually, I think, where we're headed. And I want to credit a lot of people, including previous leaders of the city, Mayor Adams, for what we've done recently with composting and the current city council, because we are a national leader. We are doing more in terms of both recycling and composting. So what I would like to see in my vision of that would be upcycling more materials here before they need to be recycled, like Loopworks is now doing with clothing, so that it wouldn't be necessary to recycle because we would have made smart use of other materials. And I'd like to see us making products from those recycled materials here rather than shipping them to somewhere else to be remanufactured. So we're doing some of that now with metals and with glass. I'd like to see more of that. And then, of course, I'd like to see us using green power for processing those materials as we take them from waste to reuse. And have that all be coming from the sun and the wind instead of from coal or gas.
Sounds like the audience agrees with you. That's 300 points for you there, and Jefferson, would you like to take 30 seconds to respond?
That was a good response.
All right, we'll let you move on. Would you like to select a category?
I'll take green jobs for the most, 500.
Green jobs for 500. All right. The question is, what have you done to support a more sustainable economy?
Some things I'm proud of and not nearly enough. I was proud to work with the governor's office and a couple other members of the House to pass the Cool Schools bill to get a start at retrofitting public schools for energy efficiency. Something we should be doing more of. Hey, you can clap for that, by the way, that's just fine. We was proud to work with Bob Jensen on getting past the bill that got the first statewide water strategy started in the state of Oregon. We've been without one for 160 years. We haven't done nearly enough on water statewide, but at least it's a start. We passed a pretty humble bill that I care a lot about to shift some of our economic development attention from just trying to attract out-of-state businesses to what we can do to help homegrown businesses. And a more local economy is a more sustainable economy. I'll tell you something else that's a little indirect, but I helped start a nonprofit organization that, as a critical portion of its mission, is engaging a next generation of people who participate in a sustainability movement. And that might have more impact than any particular bill or anything I do as mayor as a force multiplier. And proud to be endorsed by Sierra Club, League of Conservation Voters, Bike Walk Vote, and Mother Bragg.
What do you think, 500 points? Jefferson, I have a bonus question for you. How much can you bench press, by the way?
Not nearly enough.
Great answer. I'm going to give you 10 extra points. Charlie, would you like to respond to that as well? You have 30 seconds. What have you done to support a more sustainable economy?
I think there are two things that I'm proudest of. One is something that we've all worked on together, I think a lot of us in transportation, and that is we do burn $1 billion a year less in gasoline here in Portland because of our transit system, and I've had a role in building that. But I'm really proud of that progress. We have a long way to go, but the fact that it's possible to live a car-free or a car-light lifestyle in Portland because you can get on your bike, because you can walk safely, or because there's a great bus line or streetcar line or rail line close by, something I've had a lot to do with and I'm very proud of. Kind of on another extreme, but the one that's the most fun is I've been volunteering for 20 years with a group called Friends of Trees. Anybody planted a tree with Friends of Trees? We've planted 420,000 trees in 10 years, and we're the only city in the country where the tree canopy is increasing instead of decreasing in a major way. Thank you.
And you got some bonus points there as well. I'll give you 100. Yes, sir. All right. Who is this man? Security? Oh, no, this is Alex. Yes. Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, if you filled out one of those little slips of paper and you had some questions for our candidates, please pass them towards the center aisles at this point, and we'll collect them, and then a little while later we'll select some of them for questioning our candidates. Excellent. All right, let's move on down. Amanda Fritz, it's your turn, I believe. Yes?
Just going to keep going.
Yeah, let's just go. We'll keep looping down the line here. Yeah?
Sorry,
do you have a
choose
question
something, right?
that you'd like to see?
How about green jobs for 300?
Green jobs for 300. Yes? Green jobs for 300. Here's the question. Amanda, if you could create 100 new green jobs tomorrow, what would they be? Please list all of them. All 100. Or a few would be.
I would create 99 solar installers and one coordinator to help market them.
Very good answer. Boy, I love your succinct answers. You're going to get an extra 50 points for speedy delivery.
So can I follow up on one of the mayor's questions since I have more time?
Wow.
Shouldn't have asked, no, don't ask questions. Okay, so to add it up to that, the job is not, as Charlie said, of planting with Friends of Trees is mostly volunteers, and I want to thank everybody here who's participated in that. One of the things that I've done over the last 4 years, which I'm so happy about, because I started it as a citizen activist and then I got to vote on it as the city council, is an update to our tree policies, so that we, for the first time, are coordinating all the different bureaus and what they do with trees and what you can do on private property as well as in the right-of-way. And I'm really happy that this is going to increase the number of trees that we have in our city in the tree canopy.
All right. I'm going to take those 30 points away for stealing extra time. Let's see. Mary, would you like to respond to that jobs question, perhaps? You have 30 seconds if you like it, or we can just move on.
Sure. Of the 100 jobs, I would create 50 in the manufacturing sector in Portland, manufacturing solar panels, weatherization devices, energy efficiency devices, so that we can export from Portland to the rest of the country, the rest of the world, this wonderful opportunity. Then about 35 to do installations here in Portland so that we can help local businesses, local homeowners enjoy the benefits of reducing their energy consumption. And then about 15 doing research into new technologies so that we're continuously filling up the pipeline of new opportunities in the future so that we'll have jobs in this arena for a long, long time.
Great. Mary, it's actually your turn to select a category. So we'll start with you again, and then Amanda will have another opportunity to respond?
Let's do potpourri for 500.
All right, sustainability potpourri for 500. Here is the question. It's a somewhat hypothetical situation. A small local company has developed a means of generating energy from gravity-fed water pipes. What action would you take to interface between the company, the city, and the water bureau?
So whoever put this question in knows that it's not hypothetical. That there is in fact a company here in Portland, it's called Lucid Energy, that is developing this technology and has a few demonstration projects in place and has begun to undertake negotiations with the city, with the Water Bureau for doing an installation here. So here's what I would do with them, actually did do with them, and do routinely with other businesses that are developing new technology or trying to expand their businesses here in Portland. I called them up, I talked with the CEO and asked him, how's this working? What do you need to prove that it's successful? And what do you need to do to keep this business in Portland and employing Portlanders? And he gave me some very specific suggestions about things that we can do to help him with a demonstration project, help with location facilities for their employees here in Portland, and just be accessible. So that's what I've done, that's what I will do, that's the way I approach things.
Very good. All right, you've got some points. Amanda, would you like to respond?
Well, the other part of that equation is the Water Bureau. And so I've been working with and investigating the Water Bureau for the last 4 years. And one thing we know for sure is that there will be a new commissioner in charge of the Water Bureau in January of 2013, since Commissioner Leonard is retiring. Some say one of my greatest accomplishments over the last 4 years was getting Commissioner Leonard to change his mind regarding the Water Bureau's plan to put a filtration plant in our precious Bullrun water. Instead, we were able to persuade him to first go for a ultraviolet system and then to not do that at all because we were able to get a variance, and that saved over $500 million for you, the ratepayers. So I am very much hoping to be in charge of the Water Bureau next year, and the efficiency and the way that the Water Bureau operates with its customers, including all of the ratepayers as well as the major wholesale customers, is something that I think can be improved and that I'm looking forward to work on.
Let's move on down to Charlie. Charlie, your turn. Is there a category that you would like to select, sir?
Okay, let's take green jobs for 400.
Green jobs for 400. All right, here we go. What do you believe is the role of local government in supporting training and education for workers entering the green job market?
That was it.
You want me to read that to you again?
It's fine. I just
it's sure. A little. What's going on up there, Stuart?
Okay.
It's all right. We got it under control.
Oh, I think there is a role. In fact, the education system in Portland is a priority for me, not because it's a responsibility of the mayor. We have our own school districts and they have their own school boards, but how that education system works for our community runs through everything we do. It's our economy, it's our kids' future, it's our quality of life. So it is a responsibility of being the mayor to be a leader for the schools. And that means organizations like the Portland Workforce Alliance that teach kids how our local economy actually works hands-on. And that to me is a model program of how we introduce kids in the school system while they're still considering what their futures will be to the actual work of installing solar panels or doing construction work or working at solar power. So that organization, which is a nonprofit, works effectively as a bridge between the city and the economy and the school district to train kids in the reality of that work, and I think it's tremendously valuable. I want to support it and expand it.
Great answer. 400 points? Jefferson, would you like to respond?
I will. I'd add a couple things. I'd add 3 things. First, we can do projects so that there are jobs to learn from and jobs to take. Second, we can work as a partner with our school districts, not just Portland Public Schools, but also Reynolds Centennial, David Douglas, and Park Rose, and look to leverage things like the ACE Academy so that they are offering the skills necessary to get into a clean economy. And third, one of our key priorities is what we're calling Portland Summers, to work with every commissioner and the bureau that's relevant, along with Work Systems Inc., along with our county libraries, along with school districts, to set an objective to have one of the most robust programs to fill the summer gap. And part of that should be leveraging private sector partners to provide more internships and jobs. And I think that the virtuosity generally, the kindness generally of the clean economy leaders should make them some of the earliest patients in that hospital. Or
very good. All right. Thank you very much, Jefferson. Excellent. It's actually your turn there, sir. Which category would you like to select?
I'll do, I don't know. We'll do energy efficiency for, you pick the number, sir.
Energy efficiency. Let's do none for 100.
Come on, man.
Let's do for energy efficiency for 100, and there's a little bonus question for you as well. All right. If you were an energy efficiency measure, what would you be? And why? A, CFL. B, programmable thermostat. C, occupancy sensor. D, smart power trip. Or E, which isn't
power strip
up there. E, which isn't up there. Oh, power strip, you say?
Oh no, I thought you said power trip. That's not what I would be. But I would be, I'll take D. I'll take D, because the thing I hope to bring is provide energy to the council and help delegate where that energy goes. Yes, that's a good answer.
Great answer.
That's a good answer for that silly question.
Very good answer. We'll give you 100 points, and I'm going to give you an extra 100 points for enthusiasm. Yeah?
Oh, I get to respond to that one?
If you'd like to, yes.
Yeah, well, some people say I'd be a thermostat because I'm so cool. But actually, I want to be E. I want to be an LED light bulb because that's more efficient than all those things.
Hey, all right, Charlie. We're gonna give you 200 points as well for creativity. There we go. All right.
Can we answer that question?
Sure, absolutely. Well, what would you choose, Mary?
I want to choose F.
What would F be?
I want to be either an Indo window or a Solar World PV panel or something else that's made here in Oregon.
Hey, 200 points for getting the crowd riled up. All right, it's back to you, Amanda. Would you like to select a category?
Renewable energy for 100, please.
Renewable energy for 100. Here's the question. The City of Portland's support for community-led bulk purchase campaigns has been fantastically successful. What do you see as the city's role in continuing to support and promote homeowner and business access to distributed solar?
I am so proud to have served on the council for the past 4 years, where, as Claire said, we've seen such a growth in enthusiasm and installations for home solar. So what I have done and what I will continue to do is to be in charge of the Office of Neighborhood Involvement. I'm going to put my marker down here. Whichever of you two is mayor, I want the Office of Neighborhood Involvement. I think I'm probably the first commissioner in the history of Portland to ask for neighborhood involvement 4 years ago. It's a very cool bureau, and it's embraced the Solarize program, starting in Southeast Dublin, as was mentioned, but also in Northeast and Southwest, all over the city. And what I do as commissioner is to support, go to award events, tell people about the program, answer sometimes the emails that ask why is the city investing, doing these things. I answered 20,000 emails by myself in my first 3 years of office. And some of them were about solar and why we were doing this and why does this matter. So that's what I'll continue to do as your city commissioner if I'm re-elected, is connecting people and helping to connect the dots so that people in Portland who may not understand the first time they read something, and especially may not understand it when they read it in the newspapers, because sometimes the newspapers don't have the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. I provide some of the background that can help people in Portland understand, because we really do all share values of community, values of energy efficiency and sustainability, and you've done a great job with the Solarize program.
All right. Excellent, excellent. 100 points. Mary, would you like to respond to that as well?
Yeah, the city's role should be matchmaker to bring together people with ideas, technologies, and customers who can use it. Facilitator to help neighborhoods improve their buying capacity through programs like this. And I think the city also needs to change the culture of the way city agencies respond to the public, so that it is more an ethic of service and trying to help people succeed instead of just enforcing the rules.
Great answer, 100 points. And for a bonus question, is Ra happy or vengeful that we are using solar energy? No, we'll skip that one. Let's see. Mary, it's up to you. You can choose a category. Transportation. Transportation for, we got 200, 300, 400, 500.
Let's go for 500.
Transportation for 500. All right. Here we go. In 2011, according to the U.S. Census, 5% of Portlanders walked to work, 6% biked to work, 58% drove alone, and 13% took public transportation. Now, 1% reportedly used teleportation. What percentages of these categories would you see as good goals for Portland for the year 2030?
My understanding is that the numbers for bike commuting are just a skosh higher than that. But they're not as high as they need to be. So we've got, the city has a goal for 2030, but we haven't fully invested to make it possible. I want to invest to make our expansion in bike and pedestrian commuting much higher and make it possible and enticing for people to do that. I'd set a goal for bicycle commuting of 20% and pedestrian commuting of 15%. That means we need to cut single passenger vehicle travel in half to about 30%. And 13 on transportation. Public transportation, I can't do those additions there, but I think it is also an expansion in public transportation. You don't have carpooling up there, and I think that is why they don't add up. But let's be ambitious. Let's invest in what it takes to make it possible for folks to change their commuting patterns, and let's make it feasible for companies to be able to have their employees get to work affordably and on time.
Very good. 500 points. Amanda, would you like to respond?
Yes, I was so proud to vote for the Climate Action Plan when we passed it in 2009, and I stand by its goals for 2030, which are 25% bike, 25% transit, only 30% driving alone, 10% carpool, and 7.5 walking, which still leaves a little bit, which I assume is telecommuting, although that seems kind of low for 2.5 telecommuting. But certainly 25% bike and 7.5% walking seems entirely reasonable for us to be able to get there. It does mean that we're going to have to invest more in transit, and I think we can get there. We're on track. We have an annual report on how we're doing on the Climate Action Plan. We did it in concert with Multnomah County. We need to bring Washington County and Clackamas County and Clark County on board in order to truly recognize our goals.
Great answer, 500 points. Ladies and gentlemen, that question was brought to you by another one of our fake sponsors, Spandex. That's right, folks, that stretchy black stuff that gets you where you want to go. How you doing, Charlie?
Hey, I'm good, but I think that other 2.5 or 3% was actually supposed to be skateboards because they're legal on the city of Portland streets, and that's cool. So let's do energy efficiency for 500.
Energy efficiency for 500. All right. Here's the question. How would you increase the energy efficiency in buildings owned by the city of Portland?
Oh, wow. There's a lot of ways to do it. First of all, the city owns a lot of buildings, and many of them are quite old, and some of them are in poor shape, physically and in terms of energy conservation. So there's a lot of opportunity, and the way you pay for those improvements is going to change from building to building. For example, our community centers and the other buildings that are owned by the parks. I put together the first parks bond measure 18 years ago that built the East Portland Community Center and the Mount Scott Pool and the Southwest Community Center. Well, we have a chance to do another parks bond measure in 2 years when that one is paid off, and we could use part of the next parks bond measure to pay for those improvements. Then in the cities, many of the city's other buildings are for the utility bureaus, the Water Bureau, the Bureau of Environmental Services, Transportation, Standing Yards, our big complex where all the trucks roll out every morning to pave the streets. Well, those have a chance to just leverage their energy savings into cost savings and operations of those bureaus. And then finally, we ought to have specifically a program for all those acres of roofs that we own to be a platform, literally, for solar panels and solar installations. We have the real estate.
500 points. All right. Very good. Jefferson.
Solar on roofs, also maybe a little wind. The two things I would offer would be one, doing benchmarks of all of our buildings, doing energy performance scoring of all of our public buildings. And then second, looking at how we can improve how we're doing on those benchmarks. And the one tool I would add is we have QECBs, Qualified Energy Conservation Bonds, that, interest rate of 1.8, 2.5%. We haven't used ours yet. That's not quite as valuable right now because money's real cheap, and I don't know when their expiration date is, but we want to push it out as long as we can before they expire, use them as interest rates improve, and use it as a tool to get our public buildings more efficient.
All right, I heard a hoot. Excellent. Yes, Alex is back. What do you have for us? It's raffle time, folks. Do you guys all have raffle tickets in? Yeah! All right, here we go. Oh, thanks. You just handed me some questions as well. Okay. All right. We're going to do some, we're going to do a little drawing here, folks. Some of the audience members are going to win some prizes. We got some great raffle prizes here. The first prize is an $80 gift certificate from Fix My Dead PC. Nice. All right. And Charlie, would you like to? Here we go. 511275. Somebody was close. 511275. $80 gift certificate. Jefferson. Recall.
511292.
This guy's close again.
Anybody?
We have a winner!
Nice.
All right, an $80 gift certificate from Fix My Dead PC. The next prize is a gift certificate for lube, oil, and a filter service at Hawthorne Auto Clinic. I'm going to go ahead and draw this. 511347. 511347. We have a winner? All right, moving on. Let's try it again. This is a gift certificate for lube, oil, and filter service, Hawthorne Auto Clinic. 511287. Yeah, that's what we like to hear. Very good. All right, we've got 2 hardcover mystery books from Murder by the Book, given together as one prize. The lucky number is 511356. So 511356. 511356. You're the lucky winner of 2 mystery books. That'll keep you up late at night. Excellent. Admission for 6 people to Helium Comedy Club. This will be fun. 511271. There's some cheers. All right, you guys get to see some comedy. Yes. Okay, what else have we got here? Gift certificate for a medium-sized ice cream cake from Ben & Jerry's. 511. Jefferson, you want to buy tickets?
I want to buy some tickets.
511. 251.